Hey, I want to thank Kim for trying to do a Turbo News, and I want to thank you for ranting on and on and on and getting us into the third hour of the Mark Thompson show.
Well,
I
I can tell
congratulate you.
you're choking down some resentment. I can tell, but
No, no, no,
This is a man with anger. This is a man that has resentment towards you.
Thank
Mark.
you, Dr. Phil gets it. That's exactly right.
Mark, a happy Valentine's Day to all,
Thank
including
Can you let him finish, sir?
Yeah, I'll let him finish. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
including you. I mean, love is in the air for many of us,
Yes.
and I have had my share of romantic liaisons. But today, I will be celebrating Happy Single, whether you like it or not, Day. And
I
Mark,
see.
this is where you say, ladies, he's single. Come on, come on.
Do you feel that is there anyone in your past that you feel you passed on or maybe broke up too prematurely with that you wish you had stayed with, Michael?
Hey, regrets. I have a few. I guess Cupid is pretty selective, the bastard. C'est la vie. Ah, well. To all the lovers out there enjoying their bliss, I just want to say, don't choke on your chocolate-covered cherries. Anyway, it's another day, another unqualified appointee in Washington. With each confirmation of the Orange Ogre's handpicked goons and toadies, and their alignment with the destructive and inhumane Project 2025. The hen house is being overrun by so many wolves that our only hope may be the possibility that they'll devour one another. I got my fingers crossed on this one, though. And,
yeah, well, it may take more than the fingers crossed, but go for it.
One more quick note about the current events. I noticed that you only need to add an F to the beginning of Elon, and it becomes felon, as in his co-conspirator.
Well, that's the writer in you noticing that, indeed.
Yeah,
What can you tell us for this Valentine's Day weekend? People are curious. I'm seeing in the chat.
Okay.
Fill out the dance card. Go for it.
I will have a Valentine's Day choice for everybody, and it's going to be very unlikely, but let's start off with the elephant in the room, if you will. As a longtime comic book fan, you pointed that out. I have been committed to watching each and every movie and TV series in Marvel Comics' unprecedented Marvel Cinematic Universe. Decades of films, all interlocked and interrelated to tell a grand saga. And, with so many chapters, some are going to be better than others. Some will advance the overall story arc or arcs, and some will work as standalones. And now, here comes Captain America: Brave New World, which is the fourth Captain America movie in the 24 or so MCU entries, and the first of three of the MCU movies that are headed for theaters this year, with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four: First Steps yet to come. And boy, they both look better than Brave New World, which is not that Brave New World is a dead loss. It's the first movie to feature the charming Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, who was the former Falcon and now has the mantle of Captain America, which was handed to him by the original super soldier, Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans. And Rogers retired in the last Avengers movie. And Sam took the mantle, but won't take the super soldier serum. He has his, high-tech wings and athletic capabilities and the ability to fling Captain America's shield to protect America and conquer its enemies, I guess. Unfortunately, this film seems to have had too many reshoots and too many screenwriters. It doesn't hold together. There are moments. Mackie is fine. I have to also point out that there's kind of a new Falcon. He has sort of a protege, a guy by the name of Joaquin Torres, played by Danny Ramirez. But the big deal in this movie is the fact that it is a continuation of the exciting and satisfying miniseries The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, although not as good, and a de facto sequel to the second movie in the Marvel saga, which of course began decades ago with Iron Man. And that movie would be The Incredible Hulk, with Edward Norton as a scientist and Hulk to be Bruce Banner, and William Hurt as Banner's nemesis and boss on the U.S. military's Gamma Bomb weapons program. That would be General Thaddeus Ross, who was the father of Banner's girlfriend, Betty Ross, played by Liv Tyler. And I give you this backstory because, as many know, Edward Norton no longer plays Bruce Banner. That's now Mark Ruffalo. And since William Hurt's death, but their decision to have General Ross be a part of Brave New World, they recast with Harrison Ford. So Harrison Ford is Ross, who has been elected President of the United States. And Sam Wilson, Captain America, has to bend the knee to him, essentially. And what everyone knows, because they've seen the trailer, is that Ross has kind of a secret. And the secret is that he's been infused with gamma radiation himself, which means he's going to turn into a Hulk. It's just a matter of watching and waiting for that to happen. And, you know, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. He's like a Ford. He's very durable. You know, you can go 150,000, 200,000 miles on Harrison Ford. And he's, you know, entertaining here, and he's, you know, having a ball. And Mackie, again, is really good. And the villain, who is kind of undercooked, the main villain, is a guy known as the Leader, Sam Stearns, who has been gamma infused and has a superior intellect and has a grudge against Ross and has a grudge against superheroes, and thus he is there to mix things up. There are interesting geopolitical issues afoot here about the control of some otherworldly element called adamantium that comic book fans know is what comprises Wolverine's bones. I mean, I'm getting deep in the weeds here.
Yeah, you did completely lose me about 45 seconds ago. Go ahead.
I know, and that's why I'm going to just say Director Julius Ona tries to keep all the plates
Sounds
spinning.
to me like you didn't like this goddamn movie. I don't know why you're giving me like a college course on it. I mean, come on, let's get it going.
It's all about context, Mark, and I just want to wrap up by saying it's a mediocre.
Can you let him finish, sir?
Okay,
It's a mediocre. Yeah, listen, man, I don't interrupt your rants during the news, do I? Anyway, it's a mediocre entry in the
I love it
Marvel
when you're angry.
Yeah, it's a mediocre. What did you say? Sorry.
Mediocre entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you know, your drops won't change that. You know, I watched it. I was sort of entertained. I enjoyed the Easter eggs, but I left going meh. On the other hand, we have another sequel-ish movie, and that one is considerably better, but actually is diminished by what came before. And this movie would be Paddington in Peru.
Oh.
And Paddington in Peru
is Harrison Ford in this one also, Michael? Because the last guy died. No,
he plays an aardvark. No, this is the third movie in the incredibly charming series of family films based on the Paddington Bear book series.
Sure.
You know, proper English and again delightful. Paddington in Peru is the first of these movies not to be directed by Paul King, and it is somewhat diminished by that. King is masterful at doing these kind of family entertainments. It does have the return of Ben Whishaw as the tender voice of the English-speaking Paddington, and though it brings back Hugh Bonneville, Lord Crawley from Downton Abbey, we all know Downton Abbey.
Oh, of course, sure.
He plays Mr. Brown, head of the human family that adopts the cuddly little orphan bear when Paddington initially travels from the Peruvian jungle to London. So Bonneville is back.
But they make him wear that raincoat and hat all the time?
Yeah, you know, it's his shtick. You know, the London weather. Come on. It's foggy, it's rainy, you know how it is.
It's the Paddington outfit.
I see. Yeah, that's true.
Like.
So he was adopted, but that was the deal, though.
We're in better shape, but I don't think we're in wildly better shape.
Yeah, I think he is in wildly better shape. Go ahead. Paddington in Peru. Continue, please.
Julie Walters is the family grandma. She's back. The young actors who play the son and daughter of the Browns. But it does have a recasting problem, much as we had to see recasting in Captain America Brave New World. Here, the always ideal Sally Hawkins is not playing Mrs. Brown, which she did in the previous movies, Paddington's mother figure. Instead, she's played by the usually excellent Emily Mortimer. but she kind of lacks Hawkins' delightfully off-kilter quality, and that brings this down a notch. So anyway, Paddington now has a British passport, Citizen Bear, and it's just in time to head back to Peru for the first time when he learns via a letter from a concerned nun. This is all legit. Talk about being deep in the weeds. A concerned nun that his beloved aunt, who is of course also a bear, and who lives in a home for retired bears, is depressed because of Paddington's absence from her life.
No, and
The nun,
finally,
by the
there's
way-
some reality in this. I think I could see the bear being depressed because of Paddington gone.
She's an elder bear. She's not feeling good about
Yeah.
Paddington's absence. Anyway, the nun is the facility's mother superior, played by, are you ready? Olivia Colman. So
Wow.
we lose Hawkins, but we get her fellow Oscar-level actress Coleman. Anyway, it's off to Peru with the entire Brown family in search of adventure, which may involve the riches of the legendary lost city of El Dorado, and that brings Antonio Banderas into the mix as a boat captain who oversees excursions on the Amazon with his plucky daughter. The captain also happens to be a treasure hunter with a long line of gold-obsessed ancestors who are ghostly advisors to the captain, played by Banderas, including an Amelia Earhart type woman aviatrix, which is kind of cute. It's entertaining. It's not the best of the three. It's the least of the three. I'm not going to say that director Dougal Wilson did a bad job and the trio of screenwriters did a bad job, but this isn't quite up to the other two. It is good family entertainment. It is the sort of thing that Kim and the McAllister crew might enjoy watching. And I dug it. It's just, again, it pales a little next to the first two films.
Well, do I need to have seen the first two Paddingtons, Michael, to enjoy Paddington in Peru?
I think you need to see Avengers Endgame first, and then I think you'll understand more about the Paddington film.
Who goes to see a Paddington movie? Says Citizen Morgan. I mean, that's, I think, too convoluted for me, makes you want to be lost in the weeds, says M.O. I actually I also love Olivia and Antonio, says Tammy, and maybe that's the reason to go.
And, Imelda Staunton voices Aunt Lucy the bear. Look, there's a lot of talent here, and it's good, but it's just not quite as good as the previous one. I do recommend it as family entertainment for a holiday weekend if you consider Valentine's weekend a holiday weekend.
Where is it, Michael? Is it in theaters or is it streaming?
Buddy. It is in theaters, much like Captain America Brave New World. Now, I have my favorite film of the week, which is available on Apple TV, and I believe only Apple TV, a bit of an outlier. It's called The Gorge, and oddly enough, it is the most romantic movie to come out on Valentine's Day this year. And The Gorge is a wild but thoroughly entertaining mashup of action, political intrigue, science fiction, horror, and yes, romance. And it has the advantage of two extremely good actors as its leads, apparently a couple that know one another in real life. I don't know that they dated, but they have great chemistry. Miles Teller, who caused such a splash in Whiplash, and the wonderful Anya Taylor-Joy, known for The Queen's Gambit. She was the star of Furiosa. And Miles Teller's character is a soldier of fortune, an expert assassin, and he is hired by Sigourney Weaver's spook executive. She's clearly in charge of a bunch of black ops, and hires him. He's free, he's done with the business. He's embittered. He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, but he takes on this job. He is hired to actually patrol a gorge in some unknown area. And in fact, he's black bagged on his way there, so he doesn't know specifically where he's going. And this gorge apparently is a portal to some bad stuff. Like I don't know if it's creatures, whatever it is. He's there to guard it and make sure whatever is down in the gorge does not get out. So she hires him. He goes there, and he learns that there is an opposite number from Russia, from the east, on the other side of the gorge doing the exact same thing. There is some sort of treaty between the east and west to patrol the gorge. So he's on one side. Miles Teller's character, and Anya Taylor-Joy's on the other side. And even though they're told not to communicate, they begin to communicate via signs and gestures using their binoculars, and they develop a rapport. And yeah, something really sweet and romantic happens. And then all hell breaks loose, and we begin to learn what's in the gorge, what it's all about.
Well, what is in it, Michael? What's in the gorge?
If I was to tell you, Mark, I'd have to be killed by that Black Ops unit.
What?
I can't tell you.
All right.
So,
They pay me a lot of money for having attitude.
Yeah, I have to ask.
The
I'm required
director
to ask.
Scott Derrickson, who also directed Doctor Strange, The Black Phone, Sinister, and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, he knows what he's doing. There are preposterous aspects to it. You got to use that suspension of disbelief while watching it, but I really enjoyed the hell out of The Gorge. It's available specifically on Apple TV. So there you go.
Wow. Is it a bronchitis, asks Hobnobs asks. Is it a bronchitis in the gorge, Michael? Is that what they're fearing? We don't know.
Bronchitis? Isn't that a disease? I think, no, what's in the gorge is something
a thing of some kind.
You'll have to see.
Ideal date movie, says Rick Cassie. But you say it is oddly romantic, right?
It is the most romantic movie out today. I would say so. It's certainly more romantic than Heart Eyes or Love Hurts from last weekend, which were also Valentine's Day skewed in a way.
I see.
I'll just quickly wrap up with Universal Language, which is a bizarre comedy about a strange interconnection between the towns of Winnipeg in Canada and Tehran, Iran.
Wow.
And there's all these different characters that connect with one another, and it kind of talks about the two cultures and how they're in clash. I guess there is a considerable Iranian immigrant population in Canada, and the movie is a comedy. It's the weirdest film of the year to date, and certainly it's wry in its humor. I didn't laugh out loud, but I chuckled maybe to myself while watching some of it. Essentially, it's about a couple of kids who find a bunch of money that's frozen in the winter ice, and they want to, keep the money. And that would mean defrosting it and dealing with all of that. And in the meantime, there's an Iranian kind of tour guide who is showing tourists all kinds of things about Winnipeg over the course of it. And there's a government employee involved in all of this. And it just goes all over the map. You don't know what time it is, what location it is, and it just gets crazier and weirder as the movie goes on. I was kind of caught up in it for sure, but it's easy to lose your way in a film like this. And again, as comedies go, I wasn't, again, laughing out loud, but I thought it was very original and unlike anything I'd seen in a very, very long time. Universal Language is available in theaters, but only select theaters. And those are the movies for the weekend.
And so it is in with subtitles. It's in Farsi.
Part of it's in French, part of it's in English. There are subtitles.
So it really is the universal language. Hits everybody.
It is a weird film, dude.
If I just watch the English parts, could I still get most of the movie, or do I have to watch the other parts that are not in my language? I have to watch
the second of the Paddington films, followed by Iron Man.
I'm an American, Michael. I don't accept other languages as even legitimate. I don't know if you've seen that latest executive order, but I don't have to sit there through the French and Farsi parts, okay? I'm an American.
I'm moving to the coast of the Gulf of Tehran, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, quickly.
Don't you speak both Spanish and French? Mark Thompson?
I speak I speak a little French. My mother was a French teacher, and I was l'enfant terrible, which means
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, but Michael Snyder actually speaks fluent French.
Really?
I speak pretty good French. And, I read it pretty well. I'm
español. I can speak Spanish. Yeah.
I'm kind of like a parrot. I'm good with accents. I can
All
kind
right,
of.
Michael. That's fine. Look, I'll tell you. I'm hugely in the corner of Michael Snyder. He's a brilliant critic, and he's shared a couple of morsels with us today. Universal Language, that was Albert was just showing you. You heard the breakdown on it. He said some kind of amusing parts of it. It's a comedy, but not a lot of laugh out loud moments, but he kind of liked it. the Gorge with the mysterious thing or something inside the gorge that finds its way into the worlds of two people joined in romance. He says it's the most romantic movie of the weekend for this Valentine's Day. The Gorge stars Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Sigourney Weaver, with the world's most dangerous secret lying between them.
Yeah. It gets pretty grisly. You know, if you're going in there expecting hearts and flowers, forget about it. There's explosions. That's all I'm going to say beyond that.
Hey, gorgeous, do you want to see The Gorge tonight, says the Surface Prince. Yeah, that's an odd pitch. Meantime, he liked Paddington in Peru. I mean, he didn't like it as much as the other Paddington movies, but he liked Paddington in Peru. It has some big stars, Hugh Bonneville and Emily Mortimer, Julie Walters, Olivia Colman, Antonio Banderas, and Ben, what's his last name?
Ben Whishaw.
Ben Whishaw. Very cool.
So good in Black Doves recently, if you watch that series.
And he started with Captain America, Brave New World. Captain America, Brave New World, a cornucopia of stars, of action. It's America, it's Captain, it's brave, it's new, and it's a world. He said it's not really that great. So he kind of says pass on Captain America, Brave New World.
Dude, if you're a Marvel completist, obviously you should watch it. It's just not, again, it's one of those movies that if you haven't seen the other films, why are you even bothering?
Yeah. I like if you're a Marvel completist, like that's okay. But I love it. That's what I asked for, a certain sophistication about Michael Snyder. If you're a Marvel completist. Michael can be read at the brilliant website, which Albert is going to be putting up for you right now, as soon as he finds it. It is the voice. I know what it is.
Okay.
Let me just get to it, please. I was waiting for it to be on the screen.
Why are you yelling?
All right.
Okay.
You can find Michael Snyder at thevoicesf.org. Thevoicesf.org, yes.
And you can find me at the Chinese New Year's Parade here in San Francisco tomorrow evening. It's the Year of the Snake, Gung Hei Fat Choi, and I may even sneak into the All-Star game at Chase Center as long as I'm in town.
What?
Wow, you've got a busy weekend. Good for you. You might see Albert there. I think Albert is trying a sneak attack as well on the Chase Center. Well, Michael, we look forward to your Friday updates, and we look forward to your pieces in thevoicesf.org. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
Bye, everybody.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.